tank moves slowly along a concealed tree line in eastern Ukraine, its engine noise low, its movement deliberate, almost cautious, as if every meter has already been calculated before the tracks begin to turn. At first glance, nothing about it appears new. The silhouette is instantly recognizable, low profile, compact, a design that has existed for decades. To many observers, it is a relic, a reminder of Cold War manufacturing priorities and Soviet-era doctrine. But what NATO planners are beginning to understand is that the platform they're watching is no longer defined by its original design. It is changed in ways that are not immediately visible, and those changes are now reshaping how armored warfare functions on a modern battlefield. This is not the introduction of a new tank, it is the evolution of an old one. Russia has not replaced the T-72, it has adapted it, refined it, and integrated it into a system that reflects the realities of contemporary conflict rather than the expectations of past doctrine. For years, Western military analysis operated under a consistent assumption that legacy armored platforms like the T-72 would struggle to survive in an environment dominated by precision-guided weapons, persistent drone surveillance, and advanced anti-tank systems. That assumption was not without basis. Early combat footage appeared to confirm it. Tanks were identified, targeted, and destroyed with a level of efficiency that suggested a fundamental shift in the balance between armor and anti-armor capabilities. The battlefield seemed to favor those who could see first and strike precisely. In that environment, older tanks were expected to become liabilities rather than assets. But war rarely follows a fixed trajectory. It adapts, often in ways that are incremental rather than dramatic, and it is within those incremental changes that larger shifts begin to emerge. The upgraded T-72 variants now operating in Ukraine represent a response to those early vulnerabilities. These are not completely new vehicles. They retain the core structure, the same chassis, the same overall design philosophy, but layered onto that foundation are a series of modifications that directly address the threats encountered on the battlefield. Additional armor has been applied across critical areas, often extending beyond traditional coverage zones to include sections that were previously considered secondary. Explosive reactive armor has been improved and repositioned to counter modern tandem charge warheads, which are specifically designed to defeat earlier generations of protection. In many cases, improvised solutions have been combined with factory upgrades, creating hybrid configurations that may appear inconsistent but are highly responsive to real-world conditions. Overhead protection structures, often referred to as cage armor, have become increasingly common, particularly in response to drone-dropped munitions that attack from above, an angle that older tank designs were not optimized to defend against. These changes are not purely defensive in a static sense. They are part of a broader adaptation cycle that reflects how quickly the battlefield environment is evolving. Survivability is no longer determined solely by thickness of armor or technical specifications. It is influenced by how effectively a system can be modified in response to new threats. The T-72 upgrades demonstrate that legacy platforms can remain relevant when they are continuously adjusted rather than replaced outright. This approach allows for faster implementation, lower cost, and greater scalability compared to developing entirely new systems from the ground up. It also allows lessons learned in combat to be incorporated almost immediately, creating a feedback loop that accelerates adaptation. Beyond physical protection, internal systems have also seen incremental improvements. Fire control systems in certain upgraded variants have been enhanced to improve targeting accuracy and engagement speed. Thermal imaging capabilities allow crews to operate in low visibility conditions, which is critical in a battlefield where engagements frequently occur at night or under concealment. Communication systems have been adjusted to better integrate with infantry units, artillery support, and reconnaissance assets, reducing the isolation that traditionally limited the effectiveness of armored units. These changes may not be individually transformative, but together they contribute to a platform that operates more effectively within a networked environment. However, the most significant transformation is not technological, it is doctrinal. The role of the tank itself has evolved in response to the conditions of the conflict. In previous decades, tanks were often used as primary assault platforms designed to penetrate defensive lines and create breakthroughs. That role assumed a level of control over the battlefield that is increasingly difficult to achieve. In Ukraine, the presence of constant surveillance from drones and rapid response artillery has made large-scale armored maneuvers significantly more risky. Movement is tracked, patterns are identified, and concentrated forces become targets rather than advantages. Under these conditions, survivability depends on dispersion, coordination, and timing. Russian forces have adjusted accordingly. Tanks are now used more frequently in support roles, operating in coordination with infantry and artillery, rather than leading independent advances. Engagements are shorter and more controlled, exposure is minimized, movement is often conducted under cover of terrain or concealment, and repositioning occurs quickly after firing. This shift reduces the vulnerability of armored units while maintaining their utility as platforms for direct fire support. The tank is no longer expected to dominate the battlefield on its own. Instead, it functions as one component within a larger system that includes drones, electronic warfare, and indirect fire capabilities. This layered approach creates a different kind of challenge for opposing forces. It is not simply a matter of destroying individual tanks. It requires addressing the entire system that supports and protects them. Drones provide reconnaissance and targeting data. Artillery delivers strikes based on that information. Electronic warfare disrupts communication and guidance systems. Within this framework, tanks operate in windows of opportunity rather than continuous exposure. This reduces predictability and increases the complexity of engagement. From NATO's perspective, this development complicates existing assumptions about armored warfare. Western tanks are designed with advanced protection systems, superior optics, and high levels of technological integration. They represent a different philosophy, one that emphasizes quality over quantity and relies on strong logistical support to maintain operational readiness. The upgraded T-72, by contrast, represents a model built on adaptability and scale. It is not expected to outperform advanced Western tanks in direct comparison. Instead, it is expected to remain operational, to be available in greater numbers, and to adapt continuously based on battlefield feedback. This creates an asymmetry that is not immediately apparent in technical specifications. On paper, a modern Western tank may have clear advantages in protection, firepower, and sensor capability, but on the battlefield, performance is influenced by availability, positioning, and integration within a broader system. A tank that is present, concealed, and coordinated with other assets can be more effective than a technically superior platform that is limited in number or constrained by logistical requirements. The economic dimension reinforces this dynamic. Upgrading existing tanks is significantly less expensive than producing new ones. It allows for rapid scaling and continuous modification without the delays associated with full-scale production programs. This approach allows for sustained adaptation, which is critical in a conflict where conditions change quickly and unpredictably. It also reduces the risk associated with deploying high-value platforms in environments where losses are likely. A system that can be replaced or upgraded at a lower cost provides greater operational flexibility. For Ukraine, the presence of upgraded T-72 tanks requires ongoing adaptation. Anti-tank tactics must evolve to account for improved protection and changing deployment patterns. Drones must operate with greater caution in environments where countermeasures are increasingly effective. Engagement strategies must consider not only the tank itself, but the network of support systems that enable its operation. This creates a dynamic battlefield where advantages are temporary and must be constantly re-established. For NATO, the implications extend beyond the immediate conflict. The effectiveness of upgraded legacy systems challenges existing assumptions about the future of armored warfare. It suggests that modernization does not always require replacement, and that adaptability can be as important as technological advancement. This has implications for procurement strategies, force structure, and doctrinal development. It raises questions about the balance between investing in new platforms and maintaining the ability to upgrade existing ones. The broader lesson is not about a single tank model. It is about the process through which military systems evolve under pressure. The T-72 is a case study in how legacy platforms can remain relevant when they are integrated into adaptive systems and supported by flexible doctrine. It demonstrates that effectiveness is not solely determined by design, but how that design is used and modified over time. This does not mean that the T-72 has become dominant or invulnerable. It remains vulnerable to advanced anti-tank weapons, and losses continue to occur. But the conditions under which those losses happen have changed. Engagements require more effort, more coordination, and more resources. The outcome is less predictable, and that